Hi class, I want to take a moment to discuss database security. With it, we need to look at vulnerabilities, the impacts, and the methods for protection. So let's look at some of the threats. We talk about excessive and unused privileges. So if you have the incorrect privileges, the account has database privileges that exceed the requirements to actually perform the job duties, then those privileges can be abused, causing a security risk. When the job duties or roles change, or an employee is terminated or resigns, then this is going to open the door for stealing of data or inflicting damage. With the abuse of privileges, users could abuse legitimate database privileges for unauthorized type purposes. An example would be the users connecting to the database using the tool such as Excel, for example. And they're using their login credentials for the user. They're going to retrieve and then save records to whatever device they're using to connect to the database, such as a laptop. And then the saved records on the device become susceptible to a wide variety of possible breach scenarios. We'll get into injection attacks, but with the injection attacks, there's two types of injection attacks. One's your SQL injection. That's going to target the traditional database systems. And then the second type would be the no SQL injection, and that's going to target the big data platforms. SQL involves inserting unauthorized or malicious statements into the input fields of web forms or web applications. No SQL injection attacks involve inserting malicious statements into big data components, such as Hive or MapReduce. This attack method can give the attacker unrestricted access to the entire database. When we look at malware, well, we can have spear phishing emails and malware, and it can be used to penetrate the organization and then steal the sensitive data by allowing access to the network or sensitive data there. Weak audit trails. It's important to collect the detailed audit records of database activity. It's going to apply to monitoring for industry and government regulation requirements. Example would be to protect against accounting errors or incorrect or fraudulent practices and regulations such as HIPAA requirements. When we start talking about the exploitation of vulnerabilities or misconfigured databases, you want to ensure that there are no vulnerable or unpatched databases. You have to make sure there's no default accounts or default configuration parameters. Key thing is the attackers are aware of how these are set up and these issues, and so they can make use of it to attack the databases. When you start talking about storage media exposure, well, think about backup storage media, and you need to have it in a protected location with the access limited to authorized personnel. You must limit the low-level access to the sensitive information. Key thing about unmanaged databases, generally you could have an old or replaced database that could contain sensitive information. When you look at the failure to protect, then one thing that we think about a lot is a multi-layer defense strategy to properly protect databases. We're looking at protection not only of the database but at the network and operating system levels. The old saying is your security is as secure as the weakest link. Okay, so the impact of failure to protect would be things like regulatory violations, fines and legal fees, loss of revenue. It costs to go back and clean up the systems and get things operational again and secured again. Likewise, you'd have your disruption of services, and a lot of times you can think of that also being linked to extortion scams, in which a remote attacker will repeatedly crash the servers until the victim meets their demands. Of course, you don't want a loss of trade or proprietary secrets, If you're developing new software, if you're developing new medications, that sort of thing, you don't want the competition getting it. And of course, any kind of attack's going to have an effect on your brand, your reputation, cause you to have customers with concerns that won't want to do business.